Soundstripe.
Welcome to South End Supporters of St. Louis City SC podcast, powered by Ready to Live Wellness, and coming at you from the Warrior Logo Wear studio. Eric Cole alongside the Monday morning center back. And what do we even say? But that sucked. I mean, plain and simply, that sucked. But a good thing that didn't suck was the watch party we had at Felix's on Saturday night. So we'll get into all that. But before we do get into all that, Dave, how are we doing this evening?
Yeah, it was rough effort, but the South End supporters and everybody that showed up, from No Goal Patrol to the Fandalorians to the families, we all gave our best effort, and that made it worth it, despite a very poor showing. So no, it was a great time, and we just wanted to thank Felix's again, and especially Carmen. She is just ride or die, like full on South End supporter, and I had a good conversation with her before everybody got there about how, this year, she was brand new to being a soccer fan prior to City, and we were talking about how this year's been really tough because, first year was so great, and, trying to be grateful that there's a team, but at the same time, like, it just hasn't been as fun being a fan through struggle. And we had a good conversation about how, this is kind of how soccer is in Europe, when you're not in the running for the championship. Like, you have a club and you find ways to get behind them every week, or try to get behind them every week, and that's a unique aspect of this game. But the watch party, it was great food, great people. I have a list of people that I wanted to acknowledge that you and I kind of put together. These are new people, and these are a lot of old friends. So our buddy Tommy Beck came with our other buddy Ryan Roberts and his dad Greg. We really appreciate that. Eric, your parents were there, so that was great.
Yep.
Got a fist bump from Marie. That was awesome. My mom and my two sisters were there. Dylan and Vanessa Simon showed up, and they brought the newest edition, the newest South End supporter, which was awesome.
That was awesome.
Because last year was at that my first watch party was the night that I found out that they were going to have a baby, which is really great because they had been trying for a long time, and it was really, really cool. So everything kind of came full circle there. The whole Zaring clan was there. Well, at least the Ben Zaring clan, Ben, Sarah, and their two girls. Chris Gebhardt was there with his wife. Big No Goal Patrol contingent from both KVKs to Jerry. Our friend Jerry was there. The Fandalorians were there, although I don't know that the Fandalorians knew that we were having a watch party. They may have just come to Felix's, but since they were there, we got some good pictures with all of them. Yeah. We met, and last names, I didn't get last names, so we met a lot of people, right? So our new buddy Chris, I think was actually your buddy Chris, Eric. Was that him, the one with the kid in the Chicharito kit?
Oh, that was my buddy Steven. Steven
Okay,
Pena.
Steven. So there you go.
Been in here at Ayla Play a couple times, which I felt so bad because I guess he came in and then went to the other end, more the restaurant side of it, and he was eating down there. I didn't even know he came in until, unfortunately, he was leaving, and he was going to say watch another Liga MX watch party himself. So I think he got out just in time though, because he didn't need to see that second half anyway. But I was just
expose the kid to that.
Yeah.
And then we saw our buddy Tim, who's been to I think all three of the watch parties now. So shout out to him.
I think you're right.
And then last but not least, our brand new buddy Nate, who made sure to tell us that while he's working at Dobbs, he listens to the South End Supporters podcast to make his day a little more tolerable. So we can relish in the fact that we are more entertaining than working at Dobbs, Eric, and that's when we could put. But no, for real, that it was really cool, and he had his new baby there too. So man, it was just great. It was such a fun time. We've been part of three of these now, or I've been a part of three of these now, and each one has been really fun. So I appreciate everyone again for showing up and the support. And if we didn't mention you by name or we didn't get to talk to you, it was just because we had so much going on. I mean, it was packed. Felix's was packed, and especially our reserve section. So hopefully we'll get to connect with everybody again soon.
Yeah, I mean, to echo, it was just a great time for a bad result. It was great meeting so many new people, as well as getting to see old friends and connect with old friends, whether it's through city or outside of city. Like Roberts, I haven't seen him in forever, and me and him are roommates for years, so it's just great in seeing him and his dad. Lovely of his dad to show up in that Liverpool polo, so nice on him for that. But whatever, Greg, we'll let it go this time. But it almost had that feeling of like your wedding day, where you're meeting new people and you're bouncing around trying to say hi to everybody, but you're trying to also remember names of new people and stuff like that. So to echo your point, if we didn't mention you or anything, we apologize, but we were so happy to have so many people there, all our support. I just had a list of three people I wanted to acknowledge, or three things I wanted to acknowledge. First and foremost, just everybody who came. It was just super cool. Like I said, meeting new people, hanging out with people, and just being around fans of the same team and all kind of there for the same purpose. Chants going on, all that type of stuff. It was just a good atmosphere no matter what. And then, yeah, Carmen at Felix's, she really was the leader on kind of holding down the Felix's end and really helping us with promote everything through Felix's and just being a big part of it. You're right. She's ride or die South End supporter. I love also watching her progression, throughout the years of being a new fan. I remember, I think it was when Sam Adeniran left. She was like, I'm so emotional. Is this normal? Like, I don't know what to feel. And I'm like, yeah, you grow attached to players, but unfortunately it's part of the business. And maybe that's us being deadened to it by being around so long that you just kind of get accustomed to it. But you forget some of these people like really grew attached to those people being new people. So it's always cool seeing it through a new fan's eyes and appreciating that. And then, yeah, our families for just helping, support us with it and then promoting everything. Unfortunately, my wife and kids couldn't make it because we had a dog incident with DH's dog while he was out of town. And so just to make sure the dog didn't have any more troubles with our dog, she thought it'd be best to stay home and make sure everything went smooth with the dog. But she was still messaging me throughout the night, just asking how things were going. She promoted it through all the week. So, she got rewarded with some delicious Felix's pizza and wings, which I remembered to bring on the way out. Unfortunately, it cost me dropping the Fandalorian stickers about 10 times out of my pocket, but I made it home with them all right, so everything worked out cool. But it was a good time. I actually liked, too, the thing that Felix had added in with the online order. It made it a lot easier and I think it made it a lot easier on the wait staff as well, not having to constantly try and worry about when they were going to come back to your table. I thought that worked out well. What'd you end up going with on the night? I forgot to everybody, yeah, was super great from the staff and everything. I mean, as always, like every time you go there, I've always had great experiences, but for them to be able to handle all that and still be, so positive and getting people out there, their stuff and everything in quick amount of time, it was just great. But yeah, what you end up going with food wise on the night?
I just had wings. I just had the buffalo wings with the jalapeno ranch. It was I had grandiose plans for the day, and then my dryer broke. So my dad, I ended up having to, shout out to my dad for coming over and helping me get it running this weekend so we could, dry our clothes again. But that kind of messed me up for what I wanted to do. I ate at a weird time, but that's neither here nor there. But you ended up, what did you end up with? You ended up with Dogtown and some wingies?
So, yeah, I went with the Dogtown, my just tried and true. I think it was, I'd always pull up the menu and then I'd get distracted trying to talk to somebody or, watching whatever was going on, that I just kind of was like, you know what, I want to just be in the moment. So I just went with my tried and true on that. And then I guess to save money on the wings, I supplemented it with Kona Big Waves and just went that route. And so I was just ordering a beer rather than that throughout the night, just to kind of.
That's fine. That's very acceptable.
And and as you noticed, as the game kept going on, and especially after the first 15 minutes, I was ordering 2 at a time. So that just kind of showed where, how the night was really kind of going at that point. But yeah, again, we just want to say again, thank you to everybody who came out, everybody who who couldn't make it but was still saying hope we had a good night. That really meant a lot to us. But just all the support we had on it was a great night. Unfortunately, City couldn't back up the great time that was being had at Felix's with their performance on the field, as they dropped 3-0 to Dallas in just a bad performance. There's not much else to really say off of that. It just kind of felt, we were talking about it on the night, it just felt like classic City. Start out looking all right, first 15 minutes, come up with a big opportunity, don't capitalize on it. Other team coming out, gets a goal back, and then just a bunch of hanging heads, just real lack of effort, it felt like. To me, that was the biggest thing I felt, just a lack of. The few words that I wrote down were kind of just sloppy, lazy, and just inconsistent. It just felt like a lot of play, link up play. There was just nothing there. It's just a lot of sloppy. Look for too much fanciness. It was slow. Every time we got on the ball, even with open space, it just felt slow. It looked like we were 3 seconds behind when that pass needed to be delivered. And then lazy. And I know a lot of people were kind of saying something about, the heat. But, the biggest thing that I noticed with, and, a lot of people ask what happens after these 15 minutes. And to me, what it is if you watch these other teams, when they get down in the final third, they work that ball so quick. And as we've talked about a couple times on the show, when you're playing defense and you're having to chase after balls that are moving quick and staying with your man, that's way more fatiguing than being on the offense do that. Whereas when we would retain possession, we would move it so slow and wouldn't move those quick counter connected passes like we were in the first 15. Dallas could just kind of sit back with all 10 men behind the ball and just kind of chill in a zone almost, because they knew we weren't going to break them down. And in that instance, they were almost recovering their endurance during that period of time. And then the thing that bothered me the most, and it was more happening as the game kind of went on, was when players would give up possession, whether it was dribbling, errant pass, whatever the case may be, they would almost just hold their head and kind of walk back. If you lose possession like that, I don't care where you're on the field, you should be the first one busting your ass back to try and regain possession on that. There were a few players that did that a couple times, but it just happened so much throughout the game that that's where I got this feeling of where's the effort here, boys? I understand it may not be clicking for you on the night, but you should never just allow a team to just, just outwork you. And especially if you're watching that game, you would think we had the midweek game and not Dallas. Or you would think they didn't even play Acosta the whole night. He didn't even suit up. And we highlighted him as a big worry going into this game, and he was a non-factor, and he didn't need to be in it. Who knows what that game really could have been like had Acosta been playing. But those were just 3 things that I kind of highlighted on the game, the performance that I saw of the boys. But what stood out to you? What were you noticing, and what were your thoughts on the game?
I mean, outside of the first 15 minutes, there's nothing really to notice, except really just kind of a just lack of a desire to compete. I don't mind getting beat by a better team. I really mind getting outworked by a team, by another bad team. Like you said, and you kind of alluding to this, you can be off your game, but if you're just gonna give it up, especially you go down 1-2, if you're just gonna give up, then just turn your shit in and go somewhere else. I've got no time for a group of players that it doesn't feel the need to play for the badge. I don't care if it's hot. I don't care if it's muggy, rainy, whatever. There are plenty of guys that would kill to be in the position that they are in right now, being a professional soccer player for a group of fans that has done nothing but support, like just fervently for almost 3 years now through, let's be honest, many more bad times than good at this point. Like all the goodwill that was built up in the first season, as far as like, in terms of wins, it's gone. There's no more of it. So what we're looking at is a poor team with a poor effort and really no kind of a rudderless ship. No real leadership other than your goalie on the pitch. There's some really good quotes from Lutz that I think kind of sum it up because, man, we could go through, segment by segment and talk about like, oh, this is what somebody should have done at this point in time, but I don't think it really matters anymore. I get no satisfaction about trying to break down a game which, even in the best moments, there was no heart. So just a few of these quotes from Lutz, and these are courtesy of our buddy Jay Klim, who I cannot believe I didn't put him in the acknowledgement stuff because he and his girlfriend were there too. So shout out to both of them for showing up. But he had some good quotes from Lutz after the game. So, and this was via KMOX also. So if you lose, you fight. That's okay because you can't win every game, but just lying down and to basically give up too early, that's not what we're here for. We have a large number of players who are on options. They should be smart enough to know they're playing for their contracts. They're playing for their future. But the way we performed yesterday was a clear sign these players don't want to be here. It was not good enough. There will be some hard conversations this week. So that's pretty damning. I mean, he has done a lot of really cover for the players, and he has made a lot. He's gone way out of his way to kind of talk about, the limitations of the roster and, how you've got young players and injured players and whatever. That's gone now. And part of it is, it's part of it's self-preservation at this point because he owns this roster. Good, bad, or indifferent. He has to own this roster. And he's gone through, he's on his fourth coach now. So let's not absolve him of blame at all either. I'm not necessarily somebody who's, fire Lutz, but at this point, maybe what you need is an entire organizational shakeup now, as much as that would suck to do. But he let the players have it. Now, what I don't agree with is letting the players have it and then protecting the coaching staff. Because the coaching staff, like I just mentioned with Lutz, coaching staff needs to own everything at the same time. He said we had a good training week. I need to put full protection on the coaching staff. There's nothing they could have done better. 200% disagree with that statement. Just the fact that, again, playing Josh Yarrow over any other option you have at center back is a complete abdication of duty towards the team. And I don't care who it is. He was wrong for playing. They're wrong for starting Josh Yarrow. They're wrong for playing Josh Yarrow. I don't think anybody could have any sort of argument towards that anymore other than, oh, he's a nice guy. He is not a starting MLS player. We were having a conversation with our buddy Chris Gebhardt. He thinks he'd start for a USL team. I don't think he would start for a USL team right now with the way that he's been playing this year. So
not in the form he's in, no.
Not to hammer him, but the play is deplorable. It's a horrendous run of form he's on right now. He's not the only one, but we're not going to sit here and sugarcoat and act like the coaching staff couldn't have done anything better. They could have. The tactics were wrong. The personnel was wrong. It was just a horrible game. It was a horrible game from beginning to end. When he said Lutz, he said the only player for him who had a reasonable game was Roman Berkey. Yeah, well, okay, it's a little bit different playing goalie. Like, if you would just give up playing goalie, it'd be really obvious that you were just letting goals in. So not to say that Berkey didn't have a good game, because he did. He made some great saves. The distribution was solid like always. But Lutz with some really telling comments there. And maybe, while I don't think that Carnell needed to stay, maybe Carnell was just part of the problem and not the problem. I think it's pretty clear at this point.
Yeah. it was almost weird that how nice it was seeing him come out and be so honest with that type of stuff. And I think a lot of that, to your point, is I'm sure his seat's just getting just as hot as some of these players. And, like we said, it typically trickles down from the top, and a lot of times it's the players that kind of go last almost. To your point, just some of these players, just why do they keep getting chance after chance? And we're not trying to, just pick on Yarrow, but we're trying to find reasoning for why you keep seeing him consistently in the starting 11, because it's not like even the last win, it was kind of almost a feeling like, yeah, he played all right. Like there wasn't like a standout performance that he did along with the rest of the team. It was just like, yeah, he was all right. Like we haven't seen a performance out of Yarrow, and to Chris's point, like I wouldn't see him starting for City 2 at this moment. It's just like it's a it's just a problem to me. Injuries, finances, I don't care. That has nothing to do with heart and desire to continue playing when it is rough. Like that's what I want to see. I don't want to, and it's the same with the fans. We ask the fans all the time, like, you don't give up on your team when things are going bad. Well, it's just as much the same for the players. Like you can't just have this woe is me, like, yeah, we're just dealing with a lot of stuff right now. Like, what's the point in putting in this effort? Like that was the thing that just bothered me the most. I'm fine if, every game, we're just getting outbeat and outplayed, but you just see they left it all on the field. I don't feel like the team left it all out on the field, and I'm getting more tired of, after every goal, somebody holding their hands up. Like, it's on all of you. If you give up a goal, if you're on that field, it's on all of you. Like the stat goes against you, the whole what is it, goals for and against when on the field, and that stat still shows up for you. So don't hold your hands up, because you're just as problematic on it. And unless you're banging in 2 or 3 goals and they're winning 4-3, like, you have no reason to hold up your hand, because there wasn't a score on that board. So everybody should have kept their hands down and pointed the finger back at themselves. And that's what I'm tired of seeing, is when passes aren't connected, just this extra frustration. And I know it's frustrating losing. I get it. I it's frustrating as a fan. I can't imagine what it is as a player, but just this constant pointing of fingers. And the biggest thing was just the, like, They brought it up like 3 or 4 times on the broadcast. Just nobody was making runs, and it was true. It was just like we'd get the ball up there, and then we'd all like be like pegs on the field, just standing in the same spot and just trying to work it around and hope a miracle would come through. Like there was no like dummy runs trying to open up lanes. There was no runs that made sense trying to find themselves in a space. It was just a lot of like trying to force a square peg in a round hole a lot of times, like we talked about that City has done so many times this year. It's just trying to force it. And it was the thing with forcing it is like that was when the panic set in, because everything else moved too slow, and you would just allow them to get back behind the ball. And it was just the frustrating, again, it's just so frustrating seeing the same thing week in and week out. Start out a good 15, die off after that, give up a goal. But the biggest thing with this one is you gave up that goal, and last week we saw a fight-back performance that resulted in a 2-1 win. This week we just saw back to old ways of hang our heads, and hope for a miracle. And a miracle isn't coming in this league right now. And it was just frustration. And I hope those players took Lutz's quotes personally, and I also hope they took them to realize, like, yeah, I am on a contract, like. No matter, there's no excuses for injuries or anything like that. I've got to go out there and just put in my shift and hope that I can bring people out. But to your point, there's no leaders on this team that really dug them out of that hole last night. You got Berkey, but again, he's back in goal and he's doing everything that he can on the field. But there's just it was trying to find a leader out on there. Even Hartle, I don't feel like he was really rallying the troops on the night. It was just frustrating. I mean, there's not much else to say. And the thing that's really frustrating about it was that was supposed to be your game that you looked at, you can get points. And now you go into a bunch of games where it's like, phew, who knows what that result can be. You're going into tougher competition, and so I don't know where you go from here. I don't know
how you find your competitive fire at this point other than to get pissed off. Like that's the only thing. It's the only thing I can think of that, ability-wise, you're not all of a sudden going to get better. It doesn't matter how many signings you bring in. You are what you are at this point. I mean, I guess you could get a healthy Kessler and a healthy Durkin, and maybe you get you max out your quality, but just explain to me how when you go down 2-0 against a bad team like that, by the time they went up 2-0, by the way, they were full on shithousery, which drives me crazy. Like Peter Musa, I would love to just boot him right in the face. He is such a tool bag. But where is the okay? I am pissed off because nothing's working, so I'm gonna just truck this dude and send a message that we're not dealing with this bullshit anymore. That we are here to compete. But no, it's not. It's just they just let him walk all over him. No angry, frustrated, hard yellow card fouls out of anybody. I mean, when is the last time you saw something like that? Like, what is it going to take for you to get up in somebody's face on the other team and try to fire your guys up because you're trying to start something? Like even Betcher, who's usually the one who's good for that, to try to get into somebody's heads, he's just been completely disconnected. It's almost like they've accepted that this is the end of this little mini era, and that they'll all be somewhere else next year. And you know what? If that's the case, then send them packing now and bring the kids up.
Yeah.
We're going to get into it a little bit more later, but some of the decisions that this organization is making in terms of personnel and deployment of resources and assets is kind of ridiculous at this point. And we need somebody to help us. We need someone to help make us understand what the hell they're trying to do here. Like, yeah. Is it a rebuild? Do they still want to be competitive? Do they want to give these kids more time? I don't get it. We'll get more into it in news and notes and stuff when we start talking about signings, but it doesn't make sense. It looks right now that you have a bunch of people cosplaying Football Manager, basically, is from the top down. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
that's pretty much all I've got on this nonsense.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say, and then we'll kind of get off this game because there's just really no point in keeping on it. And it's been a frustration that you brought up a little bit earlier in the year, and kind of piggybacking off your point there is like we just got out muscled and out, it felt like we were getting tossed around. Like, at what point do you go in hard and just lay them out? Send that. Where's Klaus's, who was it, Mbembe or whatever? Send him flying like that. Where's that been all this year? We took pride almost in that first year, and what do you know? It brought a lot of success along with it. Was out physically dominating teams on the feed, and getting in their heads. And you don't know how much that can throw somebody off their game. We talk about it all the time, like, let them know you're there early. Well, let's let them know that we're going to be physical there, not just the first 15 minutes of our play and high intensity, but let them know physically we're going to be there. And to your point, like, if ever there's a time that you should look to get into this, like, sort of like, pissed off, or just like lay it in there and I'm just trucking. What do I have to hold back from? Like, that to me almost shows a little bit of like you care, like that you are willing to take that yellow card because you just stuck one in there. And, I'm not saying like, God, I'm definitely not saying go out there and, studs up, go break somebody's leg, but like, just go put in a hard shoulder to shoulder. Send him flying. You get a foul, you brush it off, you run back, but you just let him know that next time that ball's coming into you, I'm coming back again. Or, I want to see that sort of fire, if anything. If we've talked about points that you want to build on for the rest of the season. That's something I want to see. It's just a physical heart. Whether these teams come into St. Louis City Park or if we're on the road, I want them to know that it's going to be a physically tough and just demanding game. They're not, like, no matter where we're at in the standings, talent level, injury list, I don't care. I just want to know that we're going to come in there with that St. Louis is, all right, I want that pre-coach meeting scouting report is they're going to be physically demanding like we were that first year. And I do think that's, when you catch some of these teams that have younger players or just hotheads on the team, you can really throw a team completely off their game by just physically out demanding them and getting in their head in that way. And then maybe that opens up other avenues for you. But to do that, you have to have heart and you have to have passion and you have to have the will to do it. And the will to do it for the name on the front, not the name on the back. And I think that's what these guys need to really look at themselves going forward the rest of the season is, am I willing to play for this club? And if you're not, get them out. I don't care what the name is. I don't want you here. Get the kids up, because every time the kids come up, you see that they play for that name on the front. So, yeah, we'll get off of that. Again, City drop 3-0 down in Dallas as they'll come back this weekend to take on Minnesota United at home. 7:30 kickoff time at City Park. Hopefully, I think the rain's supposed to hold off, but doesn't matter anyway. Rain, shine, just show up. And I'm talking to the players here on that one. So, it was a hot one, and people were saying it looked like a lot of the players were getting out of shape or looked outworked, but I got a perfect place that they should go check out, because right now they're offering a lot of those deals. So if they do pick up that option, they'll be able to save on their contracts for it. And that, of course, is Ready Love Wellness. It's your one-stop shop for all your health and wellness needs. And again, I want to highlight a couple great deals that they have going on right now. So for just $200, you can get 4 personal training sessions with a certified coach, as well as 1 fire and ice session with breast and exposure, and as well as 1 eVolt body scan, 1 VO2 max test, and 1 consult with a physician from Move. So one great deal there. Very great value on that. And as well, they have another package for $119. You get unlimited gym and open gym access to their gym. Plus, you get to choose from 2 of these options: 1 fire and ice session, 1 injury screening with Laura at Rehab Loft, and one Pilates class with Casa de Pilates, or 1 30-minute massage with Jasmine from Mindful Recovery. So a lot of great deals going on. Now's the time to especially go check out Ready Live Wellness to take care of all your health and wellness needs and get you moving the best way you can. Whether you're a mom of 3 or strong as the double MCB, you got to go check out Ready Live Wellness at 1530 South Kings Highway Boulevard. And as well, you got to check out that swag sponsor as well, our other title sponsor, and that's Warrior Logo Wear. Dave, tell the people about them.
Warrior Logo Wear, 12 East Main Street in Mascoutah, Illinois, or online on Instagram at Warrior Logo Wear, all lowercase, at Warrior Logo Wear, capital W, capital L, capital W, on Twitter, or at warriorlogowear.com for all your individual and team sportswear needs, from t-shirts, hats, and hoodies to team sports uniforms and promotional swag. Warrior Logo Wear can be your one-stop shop. They can also help you set up an online web store to bring your brand to life with a logo that they help you design or one that you provide. There are no order minimums, and they're the perfect size, perfect for any size event or company. So check them out, warriorlogowear.com. Maybe if you just need some retail therapy because you're in such a bad mood and you just got the doldrums because your football team is just absolute ass, absolute hot ass. And it's just like you kind of alluded to, and we'll get to it in the preview, but it's not going to get any easier. And man, I'm telling you, I saw that Minnesota team play a couple weeks ago. They are no joke. And if City does not show up, they are likely to get blown off the field at City Park, and the Boo Birds might come out. That Minnesota team doesn't mess around, man. Like they are. I think they are a legitimate challenger for an MLS Cup this year. That's me watching, and not just the game that we were at, but I've watched a couple of their games since then, and they are absolutely no joke. So
yeah,
it's going to get real ugly real fast if City doesn't show up.
No, you're 100% right. And again, we'll have that preview with our STL Kavalachi preview coming up a little bit later in this week. But for now, we're going to move into some Elite news and notes brought to you by Elite FT. Go check them out at 101 The Game Drive or at EliteFT.com if you were looking to get those kiddos just interested in the game, introduced to the game, build their skills on the game. There's no better place to go check out than Justin and everybody at Elite FT. They've got you covered, and we will get into those Elite news and notes.
Elite news and notes from the back post, like Eric said, sponsored by Elite FT, the premier youth sports training program in the Metro East. They've been doing it since 2002. Not only am I a big proponent of what they do, I was also a client for a long time. My kids are clients. I think I've mentioned that several times here. My daughter's doing some one-on-one training right now. Eric's kids are doing the Bosco's Buddies program for the younger kids, the pre-K and the 2 to 3 year olds. Great way to introduce your young athletes to this beautiful game. But it's just a great local business that we were super stoked to partner up with. and we continue to be. And they bring you the elite news and notes from the back post. Eric's got a bunch of news and notes about signings. The one thing I wanted to touch on is that the women's European Championships have reached the semifinals. We've talked about them a little bit on this program, but not too much. In the semifinal matchup, number one, you've got England versus Italy. England was in a really exciting quarterfinal matchup with Sweden that they went to penalties on and persevered, so that was big. They're the defending champions. Italy, I'm sorry, I lost my place here. Italy advanced. I think they won in extra time. I think that's how Italy got by. But regardless, and then the other side of the bracket, you've got Spain against Germany, who Spain has been the sort of prohibitive favorite for most of the tournament. So that'll be a big matchup, and I think we're headed towards an England-Spain final, and England will have their hands full, man. There's no doubt about it. If it gets to that point, Spain's no joke. They're putting beatings on people. It's not like they're eking by most of these games. They are they're putting straight up beatings on people. I think they average like 4 goals a game in pool play. They beat Switzerland in their quarterfinal 2-0. It was really never that close. So we'll see. It's going to be exciting. And so England Italy tomorrow at 2 p.m. on Fox Sports, Fubo. And then Thursday is Germany and Spain, 2 o'clock, same network. So if you are available in the middle of the day, check out some of the highest level women's soccer on the planet.
Yeah, Spain's I think they've got like the past like 3 Ballon d'Ors for the females, I think, are all Spanish. Like they're
unreal.
so good.
It's an unreal, and given also the fact that they went through all that controversy after the World Cup with the coach and the maybe it was the sporting director that they had, and it's amazing that they've kept it together as well as they have. Their 5 games so far in the Euros. 3-1 win over Japan, 5-0 win over Portugal, 6-2 win over Belgium, 3-1 win over Italy, 2-0 win over Switzerland.
Jeez, yeah.
They are a machine. So Germany's got their hands full. Germany's not a bad team themselves, but it's just it kind of seems like Spain's kind of the team of destiny here, but we will see.
Yeah, that's kind of a David and Goliath matchup there, which is weird because Germany is such a huge football powerhouse, but when it comes to this matchup here, they've dropped off a little bit, and Spain's just
on a different level right now. There's just no two ways about it.
Yep. So we'll move over to my end. Is that all you got on yours?
Yeah, I mean, you had all the signing stuff that we've been going back and forth on today, so I figure I'll let you.
Yeah, we'll get into some. We'll kick it off with the obvious one, just with the play and stuff. But Haziel Orozco, he was signed to a permanent first team contract through the end of the 2025 season, with options for 2026, 2027, and 2028. Natural left back, but they've been using him as natural center back, but they've been using him as a left back. Really been performing well. You could say he had an off game Saturday night, but who didn't have an off game that night?
Everybody had an off game.
You could tell a little youth came in just with the PK giveaway, just kind of desperation towards the end. But other than that, I think he's going to be a good one for the future, and he's going to he just looks comfortable on the ball. He looks like he's playing ahead of his age, and so hopefully he can continue to perform and bounce back off of that performance, just like everybody can, and kind of build from there. And then 2 other signings that City has made. City signs Senegal youth international defender Fallou Fall from Fredrikstad FK. Looks like he'll take up a U22 initiative player, and is under contract through the 2028 season. Left-footed center back, from what I understand, he's pretty pacey. I think they're looking from with the other signing we'll get into here. It seems like they're trying to go with pace and moving the ball quick. It'll be interesting to see. They seem really high on him and on his ball control and stuff. So when Kess does come back, I wonder if that's just going to be the partnership that they see going forward, almost kind of replacing. I can't see Nielsen still sticking around. I think that left foot kind of ball distribution, I think, is kind of I think injuries have kind of just, unfortunately, just too much inconsistency when it comes to that front. You need to build a good center back partnership. All the great center back partnerships that you've ever followed throughout the years, they kind of find these two and they just work together so well. They seem to think this is going to be a good connection for him. We're not going to get into all the highlights and stuff like that because that's what they are, as highlights. I want to see the action on the field before we make any judgments from there. But from what they sound, they sound very high on him, and the way they're talking, they're making it seem like he's going to slot right into that starting position. And hopefully, maybe as we touched on, that can kind of be the end of the experiments of other players that have kind of been in there maybe for necessity or whatever it may be. And hopefully we can finally get down maybe a lockdown starting back four that you only rotate out for rest and necessities like that.
So,
and then the last,
my big problem with this, and I guess I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but I just need to make this comment. So, this sounds a lot like the JGR signing to me. Young player, non-major league, in Norway, standout player, but inexperienced, raw. That's what this sounds like to me. Another center back. I don't think that Lutz has the benefit of the doubt with these young players. To me, there have been like serviceable guys that have come in, I guess, and you've had some injuries, but like don't get me. I'm not excited about this. The one thing I'm excited about is that they went after an African player and got away from Eastern Europe. But again, he's largely unproven, and if we've seen anything from now this fourth coaching staff and just coaching staffs in general are really reluctant to play these young players, and you saw that Saturday when Yarrow got the start over JGR after JGR had a pretty decent run at center back. So it's like the right hand and the left hand are not. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing, or the right hand refuses to acknowledge what the left hand's doing. I am not excited about this, and I should be. I should be excited about a 21-year-old player that comes in with some hype and some pace. But again, I'll believe it when I see it. Is this going to be Timo all over again? When Timo came in last year and didn't play and trained for months and months, and couldn't crack the starting lineup till this year.
But
I'm just not impressed, man. Nothing has impressed me so far.
My worry to that also is, to me, this sounds like a step up for him coming to the MLS. Not like, at least with Timo going from the Bundesliga, it's a step down, if anything, towards the end of his career and injuries or whatever he was dealing with. But I don't know where the Norwegian league ranks, but it was the same with Thor. It was he came from the Icelandic, what was it, third division or something that's like that.
Whatever it was.
Where are they ranking and why? And we'll just get into this last signing, and then I'll kind of get on my thoughts on everything. And today it was announced that City acquired South Korean international forward Sang-bin Young from Minnesota United in exchange for $1.6 million and up to $400,000 in conditional cash if certain performance-based incentives are met. They said he's an exciting young attacking player with great pace, creativity in the final third. He brings versatility to our attack and ability to stress defenses through his runs in behind and high work rate, and fits perfectly into our intense style of play. So I guess to get into, and he's had 9 goals and 2 assists and 36 starts. So again, we kind of saw this one coming with a lot of reports and stuff, and we kind of made our feelings clear last week. And to kind of go off of your point, this just doesn't move the needle for me. And I'm really confused on this one because, they keep highlighting these young players with a lot of potential to play. He's an attacking winger. Where do we have an attacking winger that's young with a lot of potential and exciting to play? We had Mackay Joyner. And we've been
I'm raising my hand. Mackay Joyner, Mr. Cole. Mackay Joyner.
You are correct on that. Why wasn't he? He would have probably cost you a lot less than $1.6 million. And you could say that he's just not playing for Minnesota because obviously Minnesota's a high flying machine right now. But he was very inconsistent when he was with Minnesota. Like, 9 goals and 36 starts isn't exactly what we're seeing. Like, that's not something that I'm thinking
We
like,
have
oh
that.
boy, we're getting this.
We have 9
we
goals
have
and
that.
we have 9 goals and 36 starts at home.
So my worry with that, and we were kind of talking a little pre-show on this, that my worry with this is there was a report coming out that there's some interest from Watford over in England for Mackay Joyner. And we've kind of been wondering, like, why isn't he? Is this the reason? Is there something that Lutz just doesn't crack on that he doesn't see was worth giving him the full first team call up? Is Mackay wanting something bigger? And he's they already knew about this, so that's why they pursued this signing. It's just one that I mid-season acquisitions are typically over. At least I'll just base it off like the January transfer window over in England. You're typically either looking to, get yourself into Champions League with a signing like that, or you're looking to, supplement injuries or necessity, or you're looking to save yourself for relegation on those types of signings. And that's where you'll get like maybe one. There's not huge signings there, but there have been successful January window signings. These to me, I don't see. And then to your point, is it going to be another Timo situation where it's like, or JGR, where it's like, this is going to be something they'll need to develop and get used to, and then he'll be more for, like, why are we making next year's signings mid-season? Those are your off-season type signings. I'd love to know what they're, it seems like, yeah, they want pace and youth, but, to match our fit and style of play, but if we're gassing out after 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it doesn't matter how quick you are down the wings. If, towards that end of the game when we're down 2-1 and we need you, making those extra runs. And if we're still sloppy in play and we can't find those runs, or I don't know, it's just, and then, who's getting left out from there? I mean, to me, it seems like Toychert is kind of maybe going to be getting a little bit less game time if the performances kind of keep going that way. Betch, the same thing. But then again, you just re-signed Bench, or you just signed Betch to stay for you. What happens when Celio comes back? It's just they would never come out and just say outright what their plan is going forward. But you can't always keep building for the future. You maybe supplement in a little bit here and there, but like you got to look for the now because the future isn't guaranteed. I don't know how many next Ronaldos United signed that just turned into duds. Like there's no guarantee on potential here. And when we've physically seen, in play, Joyner fitting in the system and working and kind of, wanting everything, it's just a confusion on there. And, we kind of alluded to this last. You gotta pull the trigger before somebody else does, and then you lose that aspect. And I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that, he comes in and he hits the ground running literally, and can contribute. But these weren't, and I think they were kind of almost echoed across, these weren't things that I think people were overly excited on.
No, and it's not, signings don't have to be exciting, right? Like, especially if they're rebuilding signings. Okay, like, Falou Fall, nobody's going to know who the hell that guy is, but he might be a very exciting player. He's young, quick, different skill set, different part of the world. He could be exciting. So that one not as much, but the price tags. I mean, he signed for over like $4 million, and then the guy from Minnesota signs for $1.5 million. Like these numbers don't make any sense to me, you know. And then is he? Are you building for the future? Because if you are, then that means that somebody like a Toychert and a Hartl and a Klaus and a Betcher, they probably need to be gone, right? Like that's if you're building to play some of these younger guys, then it's not for frame of reference. It's not. You look at like Chelsea, what Chelsea's been doing. They're signing a lot of good players for around like 60, 70, 80 million pounds to build a deep squad of similar skill leveled players, right? That's not what City's doing. City's like, you know what I mean? It's like they can't commit either way. If you went after Hartl and Toychert and Wallem was a good signing. He's a young guy, but it's just, I don't know. Again, kind of like with the whole point I made about, not giving this front office the benefit of the doubt. Like I'll believe it when it works and it works consistently. And again, and I also don't know why you're signing players. You don't even know who the hell your coach is going to be next year.
Yeah, that's a big
idea.
point too. But then to your point though with Chelsea, like yeah, they built up talent, but they built up proven talent within the league or within a top league.
Yeah.
That's where they spent that money on, to where it was
Within
like
their
okay,
league.
he's proven
Within their
league.
Yeah.
Like Caicedo, for instance, he was balling out with Brighton, and so you knew he could do it in the league. My word with Youngmin's Son is like he left Wolves because they saw potential, but it just was inconsistent and wasn't happening. Same with Minnesota. Within the league, he wasn't succeeding within the league. So then you're going to spend big money on somebody who's, in. I don't really buy into that whole they just need the right system. Well, like, let them go get somebody who's proven, if he's not playing the system that they've been playing, that we're playing on, how do you know he is going to succeed in this system?
I'm so sick of worrying about whether players fit a system. If a dude can play, a dude can play. Like that's.
I'd rather, go get
like if you can play, you can play. It's crazy. Screw a system.
At least when Hartle came, he came with big stats, and so he justified the price tag. This one just doesn't. And I know we don't get caught up on stats on the show, but this one, we've seen.
But stats are a reflection. Stats are a direct reflection of ability and success. And 9 goals in 36 starts is not successful. It's just not. And maybe he'll come in and be a really good piece, but I'm just not. I'm not going to get excited about it. I refuse to think that the dude's going to be anything more than. Tell me he's going to be anything better than Xande Silva.
Right. But also 9 goals in 36 games with the team that's been fairly successful over the past couple of years. What's that going to translate? What's the drop off going to be for a team that isn't successful currently and is struggling to find goals? Where does that 9 then drop down to 3? Like we got to look at, and we've been, the fans have been clamoring for, City to go out and spend money, but we said it doesn't matter how they spend the money, or how much they spend on the money, it's how they spend them, what it's going towards. And I don't know. This one was just kind of a confusing one. So hopefully, again, we're both wrong, and we can come back in a couple episodes and see, once again, say we don't know what we're talking about. But
which we don't.
As of right now, what we're seeing just it didn't move the needle for me as much as I was hoping. Last thing I had here was more on a transfer out, which we knew he wasn't really going to play for City ever again anyway, but Blom is officially off the roster for City as he completed his move to Vietnamese size Tiep Gian Nam Dim FC. Big fan of them over there in the Vietnamese league. The fee is unknown, and so we don't even know what we got from him, but I can imagine going to the Vietnamese league, they probably didn't dish out a whole lot on Blom, but again, it was just at least clearing up a spot on the roster. But I mean, if you're not filling that roster spot with something, positive, then that doesn't do you any good on the day. But that's all I had as far as signings and everything.
Just a 2-word comment on Jabolo Blom. Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, you can sit on that bench and not get off it somewhere else if you want to kind of have that as your lasting.
What a weird, like just like what a weird like timeline and series of events and like reaction to a player coming in and then a player going out and the whole country of South Africa like turning against City, but the guy really couldn't play. So like, were they a bunch of like South African like Twitter bots? It's just it's
a good point because
what a crazy weird just series of events.
I related almost to the Jadon Sancho situation where there was a lot of Chelsea bots coming in at Man U being like, you made a big mistake, we got him, and then all of a sudden you're paying us to take him back. And it was the same with him. He went back to Kaiser Chiefs, and it was supposed to be this hero's welcome, and then funny they didn't want to renew that contract, and there it was. So. When you can't even come home, when the locks get changed when you come home, there's a problem. But I don't have anything else in terms of news and notes for tonight. I'm worn out. Well, that game took a lot out of us. But again, we just want to sincerely thank everybody who came out to the watch party, asked about the watch party, said we hope we had a good time, helped with the watch party, everything like that. It really did mean a lot to us, and it was super cool meeting a lot of new faces and reconnecting with old friends. So thank you again, as well as thank you to all our sponsors of this show, starting out with our title sponsors, Ready to Live Wellness. Go check them out at 1530 South Kings Highway Boulevard to get all your health and wellness needs under one-stop shop, as well as go check out our other title sponsor, Warrior Logo Wear. Check them out at 12 East Main Street in Muscuda, Illinois, to get those custom orders for that swag. We just finished up that Elite News and Notes brought to you by Elite FT. If you're looking to get those kiddos into the game or build their skills on the game, there's no better place to go. Check them out at eliteft.com. Later up in this week, we will have our STL Kalachi preview of Minnesota, and that, of course, is brought to you by STL Kalachi in Sunset Hills. Go check them out at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in St. Louis, and then we will get to something we are all looking forward to, and that's those Felix's Pizza Pub South End submissions. Thank you again to Felix's for allowing us to host our watch party. It was a great time. Check them out at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown. Keep up with all our socials on Instagram or South End Supporters. Our Twitter and our Reddit is capital SES_podcast SCL. Check out our Facebook page as well as our YouTube to keep up with all things South End Supporters. So, for myself, Eric Cole, and for the Monday Morning Center back, Dave Wyckoff, you've been listening to South End Supporters. We'll see you next week, and until then, let's go City.